Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. I hope it's been a fabulous week for you. I hope that dreams have come true and more dreams have come on and that you are excited about your life and that your life is good and that you are good in it and happy with where you are in it. That would be that would be my prayer for you. That you are happy in your life and have dreams for the future and are excited about all of it, past, present, and future. Sometimes we're not so excited about the past. Yeah, well, so it goes. But that's all there to teach us, isn't it? We look at the experiences of the past and we say, what can I learn from this? What is the gift in this for me? And in finding the gift, we find the blessing in whatever it was, and we can then, as Ernest Holmes used to say, bless it back into the nothingness from which it came. So, good morning, Brenda. Good morning, Jennifer. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Kirk. We are all staying nice and warm here. It's a beautiful day. A beautiful day in Ventura. The sun is shining. Alexa tells us it's going to be 64, 65 degrees, which is pretty perfect for me. I love anything under 70, actually. I don't like it too far under 70, but I'm just fine there. Lainey, good morning. Good afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon. Happy sun. Happy sun, Jennifer. Happy, happy. Happy windy Sunday. Yes, it is. It is windy. I didn't mention that. In fact, we asked Alexa how windy it was going to be, and she kind of just lost her voice. She's a lousy weatherman. I love Alexa. I think she's a lot of fun. We don't have her hooked up to the whole house. We just have her in the little round box, and we check the weather with her, and then wrong she's going to be. She's not a great weatherman, but she's charming company, and she knows some really bad jokes.
Well, she thinks we're in Oslo sometimes.
Well, that's true. Yes, Kat says she thinks we're in Oslo, and I think that's probably true because once in a while the weather reports she gives us are just not even remotely connected to where we actually are. Sun is shining in Hemet. Yes, I would think so. Is it colder there right now, Brenda? I would think it would be. Your desert there. Um, but yes, the sun is shining and it's a beautiful day, and aren't you? Aren't you? Glad to be in this beautiful day. Glad to be on this beautiful planet. Glad to be part of the life of the planet and making plans for the future. So, how is everybody today? Talk to me. What's going on in your any specific prayer requests? Anything going on that all of us need to know about or be praying for? Fill us in. What's going on? Good afternoon, Laura. Glad you're here. It's cold in Hemet. Yeah. Sun's shining, but it's cold. Yeah, you've got weather there. You start moving inland even a little bit, off the ocean, and California has weather, sorta. Not compared to the rest of the continent, but sorta. We have weather, and then you watch the news at night, and we don't. We have a control, and we like it that way, don't we? Yes, we do. That's why we're here. Those of us that are here. Some of us are in other places, and then they check in and I am happy to report that I finally heard from my oldest son, Patrick, who lives in Texas. And if you've been watching the news at all, it sounds like Texas has fallen into a sinkhole. There just is no place in the state where things are even remotely all right. And he and his wife both texted me last night and said, "We're fine. We have good water. We have power. We It's fine." They're right outside of Austin. So, right outside Austin is probably the one spot in Texas that has not fallen into a sinkhole. I just thought I'd give you that report in case you had friends in Texas. Maybe they live somewhere near where Patrick and Rayanne live. Ooh, Kirk. Doing good after pulling lots of overtime. Wow. How's your body? You okay? I'd be sore. I'm getting sore thinking about it, so I'm not going to go there. 54 degrees, Brenda says, in Hemet. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. As long as you have power, that's cool. Um, oh, Jennifer, good. Good. Glad to hear about your mom. Glad to hear about that. How's she do the new digs, her new hood? Is she taking to it pretty well? That can be quite a challenge, quite an experience. And she's got a great daughter, so I know she's going to be all right. What they say, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. Ah, so Jennifer knows people in the Austin area too. Well, she lives in Austin, I guess, huh? They're in Round Rock, which my understanding is a suburb, sort of. But they apparently never lost power, and they have water, and it's good water, so it's not quite as bad as it sounds. Have you ever noticed though? It's always fascinated me, especially in California, where every area is so big. And you hear that there's a problem in Los Angeles, and we get calls in Ventura from friends who are concerned, which is very sweet of them. I don't make that wrong. I just, we could be in a different state here. We kind of are in a different state of mind, anyway. I like it here. I like Ventura. Ah, okay. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Would you like us to continue prayer for her and for you? I'm very happy to do that. For her comfort and adjustment, whatever that means. Kirk, you make me laugh. Yeah, the guy that called it the golden years either wasn't in it yet, um, or was seeing things. On the other hand, advantages. It does. I got my second COVID shot last week. Done. I'm safe now, so they say. Um, and I believe that I am. But I'm still going to be very, very cautious because why not? There's a lot they don't know yet, I'm sure. It's a work in progress, this whole thing. And Kirk, as I'm rereading your thing, I think we have to learn to pace ourselves at age. And the older we get, the more we become aware of that because of our wisdom. You like that? Yeah. So you're just getting you're not getting older, you're getting wiser. And learning that pacing yourself is a good idea. And you don't have to work until you're ready to drop or drop appendages or any of that. Pace yourself. Good thing to know. It's about balance, isn't it? Greetings, Heidi. Glad you're here, darling. Glad you're here. I was looking at, shoot, I took it downstairs. Well, the cover of the new Daily Word is a really spectacular blue door with wisteria hanging around it. It's lovely. Yeah, it's down in my little area, and it's in Turkey. And I thought, oh, Heidi would like to go look at doors in Turkey. I'd like to go with her to go look at doors in Turkey. This door is phenomenal. I spent a lot of time going through because I knew somewhere in that magazine it was going to tell me where that was or what it was or who took the picture to tell me something about it. And basically, they said it's a Getty image, and it's in Turkey. But that was what I really wanted to know is where it was. So good, Brenda. Get that shot for you. Heidi's got both shots. I've got both shots. All those that have had both shots, raise your hand. I can't see it. I like working with you guys because you put up with me. Kat got her first shot. We fell into it was interesting because Ventura's for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, has said, all appointments are full, which basically means we're not making any appointments. Um, because I'm sure that's how we were affected by the weather and whatnot and the shots not arriving. But some of the smaller places did have them. And if you kind of went off and fiddled around on the internet, you found them. So, and yeah, it's nice to have it done, isn't it? Good, Laura. Good. 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 Heidi put her hand up. I love it. See, you can do that. Not completely crazy. I'm just partially crazy. it's okay. Oh, let's see. What do I want to talk to you about before I get into what I want to talk to you about? And I'm kind of waiting to see if Kat can find the picture of that door. It's just really stunning. It's turquoise blue. It's just beautiful. She's not back yet, which makes me think she didn't find wherever it was I put it. All right. I don't need to mess my desk up anymore. So, where are you guys? Where are you? What's going on in your lives? We've got shots. Yeah, well, Jennifer, that's what you get for being so young. Revenge of the old folks here. Just keep yourself healthy, sweetheart. Stay safe and keep yourself healthy. And keep your mask on. Keep your mask on. I'm keeping my mask on. I obviously don't have to here, but we go over and walk the dogs in the government center because it's less than a mile away. And there aren't other dogs because our dogs don't seem to care for other dogs. But there's always a scene when there's other dogs around. So to make it a nice, easy experience for everybody concerned, we take them over to the government center, and they don't seem to mind us being there. And it's lovely, and there's trees, and there's grass, and where was I going with that? I had a purpose. I've lost it. I've lost it. Whatever it was I was going to say is just so it must not have been important. You found it. Oh, thank you. Okay, Heidi, this one's for you. Isn't that just smashing? Wisteria all around the door. And the door is actually, I don't know what color it's coming across on the screen, but the door is actually bright turquoise tealy blue. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Daily Word, March, April edition hasn't even Haven't even opened it yet to read, but boy, I keep opening it to look at that door, which I just think is stunning. 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 Beautiful door. Okay, then. All right. So, I've been thinking about comings and goings, which is not too unusual given the comings and goings that have been going on politically in this nation for the past. Hold on, I'm reading something over here. Can you tell? Aw. Oh, Brenda, I'm so glad to hear that. I remember days. Oh, you're very. Oh, yay. Hi, Donna. Glad you're here. Yeah, I thought you'd like that door, Heidi. You're welcome. The minute I saw it, I thought of you. Good for you, Lainey. You know, partners, palaces, parking spaces, and bookcases, and younger bodies. Cool. I like it. Heidi watched The Fairy Whisperer yesterday. She wanted you to know.
Thank you. I just responded.
Ah.
It's Pat Noon in Ireland in Galway.
Ah, well, the Irish understand the fairies better than we do. We kind of like to think that they're either animated, because that's what we were raised with, Tinkerbell, um, or fictional. And they don't think that way in Ireland. They know they're real. Okay, so goings and comings, comings and goings, and the peaceful transfer of power. Well, we heard that phrase, didn't we? A lot in the last month before the inauguration. Would it be that? Would it be the peaceful transfer of power? And as it turned out on January 6th, no, it wasn't. But ultimately, it happened, and I think we could all breathe more easily at the end of that day because we worried that it might be a repeat of January 6th. Oh, Heidi, you'll love Ireland. You will love Ireland. It's probably our favorite place. We've been there more than we've been any place else outside the United States. Well, more than any place else besides California, actually. I mean, New York's coming in kind of close second, but we've been to
Ireland, New York, Paris.
My travel guide. And I take her word for it because there's very few places she hasn't been. Ireland's wonderful. It's just wonderful. It is so green. It is so modern and ancient all at the same time. And they speak English, which makes traveling for monolingual people like me a whole lot easier. You'll love it. You will love it. Oh, Brad and Don and the girls. Hello. Hi, guys. Yay. All right, now I can talk about what I was going to talk about. Ready? um, what I really want to talk to you about is entrances and exits, goings and comings. So, a little about me and my goings and comings. You'll get it. Over 30 years ago, I walked through the doors of the Burbank Toluca Lake First Church of Religious Science. That's what it called itself then, all those words. And I entered the role of the senior minister of the Burbank Toluca Lake First Church of Religious Science, which became Spirit Works. And from that very first day, I really thought I would stay there forever. My picture was that I would be ancient. And one bright Sunday morning in the middle of a talk, I would just say, and furthermore, and keel over. And you'd have to figure out what to do with me. I loved the picture. I was very committed to it. But illness intervened. And because of the illness, the inability to serve the church as I believed it should be served by its senior minister. And collectively, we couldn't figure out what to do about that, so it became necessary for me to leave. And so on the last Sunday of December of my 19th year, I made my exit. Walking out of those doors was one of the hardest things I have ever done. Ultimately, we moved to Cambria so I could get well. And I did. And after 6 years of trying to figure out what I was going to do with the rest of my life, I entered into the role of minister of the Cambria Unity Church. And, well, after 3.5 years with some really wonderful and loving people, I really thought I was going to stay there forever. But things intervened. Distance from family, allergies to the environment, the lack of any kind of proximity to medical help for our family. Well, it became necessary for us to rethink. And we made the difficult decision to move away from that paradise and get closer to family and doctors and retail centers and Trader Joe's and Starbucks. We found Ventura, which met all the criteria that we were looking for. And we bought a house, and then we, I hope gracefully, made our exit. All the world's a stage, Shakespeare wrote, and all the men and women merely players. And they have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. We know that much, don't we? That we have many parts to play. Some of them are played serially. One follows the next and builds upon it. And some are played concurrently. That is, they overlap or take place within the same section of a lifetime at the same time. In this lifetime, I know I've played many parts. Some are recurring roles: child, parent, student, teacher, minister. Some are roles that have come and gone. I have, for instance, been a Cub Scout den mother, a role I trust I shall not have to reprise. I've been a florist, the training for which has served me well over the years. I've been an employee and a business owner. I have played at being an actress, and I have been a speaker, both of which roles had genuine appeal for me. And I've been a singer, and as Cac loves to bring up at the most embarrassing moments, a Hawaiian dancer, both of which roles have always been seriously uncomfortable. I've been a Susie homemaker wife, a role I fearfully relinquished in order to play a freer individual. And I have been a minister wife as well as being a minister's wife, roles that, well, in the name of discretion, shall go without critical review. The point of me telling you all this is not to fill you in on my personal history, fascinating though it may be to me, but rather to applaud Shakespeare's observation and to point out that regardless of what may be going on in your life in this minute or this week or this year or in this particular role you are in the moment, everything has always and will always continue to change. Whether that's good news or bad news has more to do with how much we are enjoying playing a particular role than it has to do with the truth about that role, especially the spiritual truth. There is no doubt that we are in the world, this world of varying stages and parts, though Scripture and all of the mystics hasten to remind us that we are not of it. But at this stage of our existence, here we are. And that, I believe, is a good thing. And it is good. We all have our parts to play. We are cast perfectly by a divine director. And we are either in any moment learning to play a new part or learning to play a part better. Or, having mastered our part, passing that wisdom on before moving on to a new role. Most of the time we are doing all of that in different roles at the same time. And it's all good. The world is all right when we look at it rightly. When we are an infant, we graciously relinquish that role to play a child. Our parents may or may not be so pleased about the new role, depending upon how we take to it, and their expectation of how that and we should be. But relinquish we must, and do. And that role is ultimately abandoned for the role of adolescent, and that for the role of teenager, and that for young adult, and onward. Until finally, in what appears to be the last scene of all, the scene that ends this strange, eventful history, as Shakespeare so interestingly put it, with second childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. But here is where I must depart with the bard. For what I know is true is that every role we leave, even as we exit the stage, another stage awaits our performance. And each stage builds one on the other before we learn to perfect the art of living. I know that we, in our role playing, do more than play a role. We learn and grow and evolve and become more of that which we really are. Individualizations of the presence of God. All of which leads me to this. If it is all good, and it is because it is all God, and if we know that it is all good, and at some level we do know that, why is it that we so often enter in fear and leave kicking and screaming? Let me take this one stage at a time. Let's talk entrances. Coming on stage, doing something for the very first time or for the first time in a long time can be a little scary. A friend of mine, a therapist, was telling me about a client who was buying her dream home, her first home to boot. She had worked really hard for it and was really excited about it. She couldn't wait to take ownership and move in. So my friend, the therapist, asked her, "What's next?" To make a long story short, instead of answering, the client asked the therapist if she saw a man in her future. The therapist, who's pretty intuitive, closed her eyes and clearly heard the client's voice saying, "I just don't think that's ever going to happen." When she told the client what she had heard, the woman agreed. "I've been saying exactly that to myself," she said. "I just don't think that's ever going to happen." Why not? Why don't you believe it could happen? You want it, don't you? The therapist asked. "Well," said the client, "I haven't had a man in my life in 10 years. And that makes it impossible. Well, it makes it very difficult." So the therapist said to her, "You believe that you can take ownership and move into your dream house, which you've never done before, but you don't believe you can have a man in your life because you haven't done it in 10 years. Where's the logic in that? Where's the logic in that?" We all do what the therapist's client did. We rate our desires on a difficulty scale, 1 to 10. 1 being it's a snap, easy for me to achieve, and 10 being this is going to take a miracle. Early in life, we change stages without a whole lot of drama, perhaps because there is no clear-cut delineation between the scenes, or because it seems we have no choice. We are a child, we become an adult, period. We are this, we become that. One day we realize that we are not what we were, and we pretty much just get used to the new role. And then we realize we've been recast once again. But then there are what appear to be the optional roles, the seemingly more difficult roles to play. The starring role, or the "I could never be or do that" role, or the "I tried it before and failed" role, the "it would take a miracle" role. And the problem is, we say the words and we fail to believe in the miracle. We think that because we've never done it that way, we can't. Or we think that maybe because we haven't had it before, we're not supposed to have it. Or we think that maybe God has somehow decided that this just isn't in our best interest. Here's what you need to know about that. Spirit has not ever withheld good from any of us. But ignorance of the way Spirit works has caused us to become suspicious or fearful and seemingly to fail. Spirit gives according to the belief of the actor, according to the level of our acceptance. Spirit has plenty and is not miserly and does not play favorites, nor choose that we should have one thing and not another. If that were true, there's a whole lot in my life I'd like to say to Spirit, "Why didn't you stop that?" And I can instantly hear the voice that comes from wherever it comes from. Although it feels like it's inside of me, I can instantly hear it say, "No, why did you choose that?" Like the therapist's client, if we have been telling ourselves that it's not ever going to happen, it won't. But not because God has withheld anything, but rather the fault, as Shakespeare put it, is not in our stars, but in ourselves. We fail to believe. If you aren't experiencing life at the level you desire, What you really need to do is believe at a higher level. And then follow your divine instincts. And you will create the life you dream of. Of course, if you think it has to be more difficult than that, it will be. So much more than you believe is up to you. Hebrews 4:6 says, "Good news came to us just as to them. But the message which they heard did not benefit them, because it did not meet with faith in the hearers. They entered not because of unbelief, and because they limited the Holy One." We can absolutely enter into the good of God, the kingdom of heaven on earth. You can. You are meant to. But we cannot enter where there is unbelief, and we absolutely, positively have to stop limiting God. God must be infinitely patient. It is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Those words are 2,000 years old. And we keep going, well, maybe God doesn't want me to have it. If God didn't want you to have it, it wouldn't be there. If it's there and you want it, you can have it. All things are given. But we have to be receptive. We have to receive. And we have to stop telling ourselves and God that some things are easy while other things are difficult, because it screws up the divine plan. The ease or dis-ease or being or doing anything is in our minds, not God's. Enter boldly. You not only go with God, you come with God. Enter every new enterprise with spirit, with faith. Enter with calm confidence. You are not alone. You are never alone. God is exactly where you are. And you, my friend, are right in this moment in your perfect place. You are. Because this is the place you have thought yourself into. If you want to be someplace else, you have to think yourself there and believe. Now, part 2. Don't fear the exits, yours or anyone else's. Every exit is an entrance to somewhere else. The infant left the womb, the child left the infant, the teen left the child. We leave elementary school to enter high school, we graduate high school to enter college or life. We have come here from someplace else, we must leave here to get to someplace else. There was a time when here was unfamiliar. Now it has become, perhaps, too familiar, too comfortable. We think about the next entrance, and out of fear of the unknown, we begin to milk our part or cling to the curtain. The problem with that is our part may be complete. And if we overstay our time on that particular stage, we may dilute the impact of the role we have played. Or we will, like the old vaudeville players, end up being painfully extracted. Ernest Holmes wrote, "Nature will not let us stay in any one place too long. She will let us stay just long enough to gather the experience necessary to the unfolding and advancement of the soul." Exits are about advancement. And never fear, we will leave an impression behind. The scenery and the stage, still full of players, will never be the same because we have played there. We leave behind a legacy wherever we have been. The world is forever changed because we have been there. That's all we really need to know. And if we are wise, as we move on, we will take the time to review our performance. Did we fulfill our promises and our promise? If not, well, we'll need to work on that in our next role. Did we play the part honestly? If not, we must ask ourselves how better to speak and act in the next production. Did we give it our best? If not, then we must once again dedicate ourselves to doing that, to playing the part to the best of our ability in the next role. That's really all that God ever asks of us, that we play the part to the best of our ability. Some parts seem better than others in the moment, but in truth, every role is important, vital to the life of God within you. Sometimes we are teachers, sometimes students. How we are cast varies with the necessities of the play. But in the truth of us, at the core of us, we are always infinite beings. Always places where God has put its talents, its gifts, its faith in us, as us. Don't be afraid of the entrances. Don't be afraid to begin. You are here on this earth for just such a time as this. God does, in fact, doing. And don't be afraid of endings and exits. If it is time to move on, we must move, or prepare to be moved, which could be painful. Everything is either growing, moving, or dying. Growing, moving, or dying. Move forward, move in faith. The entrance to joy, to love, to peace, to prosperity stands open and awaits you. We enter the kingdom of heaven through the door marked life. In the Inferno, Dante wrote, "All hope abandon, ye who enter here." So go ahead. Abandon hope. Embrace faith and confidence. Holmes called hope a subtle illusion. Just a few lines further, Dante wrote, "Here must all distrust be left behind. All cowardice must be ended." Be bold. Be courageous. Stand sentinel over the entrance to your greatest asset, your mind. Use lavishly your greatest gift, faith. And let not your hearts be troubled. We each come to play our parts, and we move on to make room for more, not less. And there will be more, there will be better, because there is always one, always God, the creator of the play. Whether you are going or coming, dealing with an exit or an entrance, have faith. Have faith. Believe. You come and you go with God, in God, as you. Let your entrances and your exits be in joy. Oh, Brenda, we all stay in situations longer than we should. Facebook bumped you, huh, Heidi? Well, shame on them. They can't do that. Not to my Heidi. Can't do that. I hope you're back. Obviously, you got back once. Sometimes that's our server. Someone told me that, and because I was having trouble getting on with um, Internet Explorer, with Chrome, and someone said go to Firefox. So now I go to Firefox just to do this. Go on with Firefox, and I have no trouble with it. And then on Firefox it doesn't post the video, so I have to go back over to Chrome to get it and to share it. It makes no sense to me at all, but that's okay. So, anybody dealing with entrances and exits right now? I suppose that would be. Well, it would be both. Could be. If you're exiting, you're going to enter something else soon. If you're entering, you've just exited something. So, yeah, I suppose they're not mutually exclusive at all. Hmm? What you think? What you think? I just know that when I hear great minds like Shakespeare's reminding us that in a lifetime we play many parts. And on one level we know that, don't we? I mean, on one level we absolutely know that. You have the person you are at the office, should you ever go back to an office again. You have the person that you are at home, you have the person that you are with your parents, and you have the person that you are with your children, and they are not necessarily the same. And then there's the person that you are with your best friend, which is probably very different than both of the other two. And as long as they're all in alignment with who you really are, as long as they're all authentically you, and they can be and be different. I choose to be this way with that person and that way with another. And they're not radically different, they're just somewhat different. Um, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't. There's a way that you probably need to be at work or in your work, and a way that you need to be and want to be with your family. The secret, I think, is to be authentic and to know that at any given moment the divine you, the spiritual you, is the truth of you. Thank you, Laura. Oh, I think a lot of it, Heidi, is about an attitude adjustment. I don't need to be afraid. I've walked into new things before. I can do this. I mean, there's always going to be a certain amount of trepidation because we don't know exactly what's there. But we learn. We learn. Afraid. There's a difference. Well, I can see Jessica's point, Brenda. Have you spent a lot of time in Florida? I'm not comfortable physically in Florida. It gets too hot for me, too humid. I like the drier heat in California. Maybe you just don't need to be in the desert. If I missed you saying something important, jump in and say it again, would you? I can get all wrapped up reading your comments. Donna. Trump is big in Florida. I understand that's true. But I wonder if that's just because of the amount of property that has his name on it or if they really like him there. Well, it's the South. We have dear, dear friends that live in Tampa Bay area.
South of St.
South
Pete,
St. Petersburg. And they love Trump. So we just don't talk politics. Yes, Don. Or Blando.
Oh, absolutely. Orlando.
Just saying. Yeah, Donna. Yeah, but Kirk, that Dick Van Dyke entrance was one of the most famous entrances in television history. So it's not so bad. Oh, that makes me smile. It made me laugh out loud, is what it did. I love that moment. One of the few shows that I would always, make sure I didn't try to skip past the entrance. Always be there to see that moment because, well, Dick Van Dyke. Tina wants to see Spirit.
The cat?
Well, Tina has to answer that, doesn't she?
Uh-huh.
Yes, she says.
Oh. You want me to bring him
If
in?
you can find him.
Oh, I know right where he is.
Yeah, I think he's napping, but she's going to see if she can find him. He has lost most of his office privileges because we get tired of picking things up off the floor that are supposed to be on our desk. But he's a character, and we do love him. He's just still a bit of a terror in that kitten way. Thank you, Tina. She's going to see if she can find it. So, prayer.
Here at first.
Come here. Purr.
He's sleepy.
Hey, sleepy boy. Look, 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 look. Look who's on television. Look. 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 Kitty. Don't kiss me. I'll get lipstick on me and I'm all white. Kitty. There. He is a sweetie. Kind of a love bug, as it turns out, when he's not being a terrorist. Terrorist kitty. There he is. There he is. Oh, I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy.
Because he was up all night.
Yeah, well, he was up a good part of the night. Don't ask me how I know. Okay, baby doll. Down you go. Of course, now you're awake. He's getting big fast. He eats like a horse. He's a good boy. Everybody says hi. Kirk says hi. Donna says hi. Heidi says hi. Jennifer says he's big now. Tina squeaked at you. You should squeak back at Tina. That would be a nice thing to do. Heidi says she loves you. Yeah, Heidi, I've been finding myself humming Have I Stayed Too Long at the Fair a lot lately. And I always try to see if I get messages from the songs that suddenly pop into my head. I think that one actually had more to do with the fact that I got my first shot at the fairgrounds, but that's beside the point. So, let's take a minute and pray together, shall we? Because that's powerful stuff, prayer. Powerful stuff. So you know the drill. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If not, just soft focus. Let yourself see with your inner eye, with the eye of wisdom, the eye of God within you that sees things that your human eyes can never see. And let us take just a gentle breath and be here now. Be present in the presence of God. Let us be holy, completely aware that we are surrounded by and immersed in a power and a presence and a wisdom and a life that knows only good. And we are not separate from it. We do not need to talk to it or at it or beg it. We simply need to become aware of it as the truth of our very own lives. We are individualizations of the one. Individual expressions of the spirit of life itself. And while we are not all that it is, all that we are is that. And that which we speak into being becomes our lives. That which we believe becomes our reality. That which we call forth becomes. It's simple, really. As we change our thinking, we change our lives. Let us today become aware that as any door closes, another opens. And that is where we are meant to be. Let us know that an open door is an invitation from life to move forward. to evolve and become even more of that which we are and are intended to be. Let us bless the doors that have closed behind us, knowing that we have done our work there as well as we could. And let us become enthusiastic about the doors that open before us. Knowing that we are being called to be more, to evolve, to express, to create, to love and be loved, to become ever more an expression of God. There is nothing to be feared in the becoming, nothing to regret in the leaving. There is only the ongoing journey from God to God, from life to living. From being one to being part of the one. We bless all of the doors we have walked through, and we bless even more the doors that are yet to come. We are enthusiastic and excited about the possibilities for our lives, and we rejoice in the unfolding and evolution of our soul. In deepest gratitude, let us the doors behind us. Welcome the doors before us, and walk through boldly and courageously as individualizations of God. And we let that be so. And so it is. Heidi has found us a closing song today. I love it. So before you leave, be sure and click on that. If I do it, they'll toss us off because it's copyrighted. But you can. And as soon as I click off, I'll click it too. Enjoy MAME. Thank you, Heidi. Thank all of you for being here. I love you. And hopefully I'll see you Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Same bat place, same bat channel. Love you all.